The Monsterverse continues, yes, and it's fucking crazier than ever. We have Godzilla and Kong running together like a bunch of goofy goobers. We have a baby Kong now, which is just so fucking adorable. We have Godzilla looking all pink now, I guess. Yeah, that's great, I guess. King Kong with a Transformer-looking gauntlet, like, what the fuck? But either way, the Monsterverse is still going. It's continuing. It's not over. It's amazing. And I have to apologize for something that I said 3 years ago. Jesus Christ. In my Godzilla vs. Kong review. This is what I said. This is the final movie in the Monsterverse universe. I don't think there's any more movies coming out after this, so I guess that's the end. I'm so fucking sorry, guys. I really didn't mean it. I didn't know that the universe was going to continue. I really wasn't sure. I'm sorry. I even made a whole fucking gravestone for it. I thought it was actually done for. No, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for the gravestone, okay? I'm sorry. Please, please, please. I'm so fucking sorry. We have a new movie now. It's great. No, no. Ah! Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ones channel and welcome back to another movie review. And the movie I'm reviewing today is another movie in the Monsterverse universe. It continues. Yes, I was wrong for what I said 3 years ago. My bad. Okay, we're all good. And it is kind of another King Kong centric story. Like, it may be called Godzilla Kong and Godzilla may be in it here and there and stuff, but it's more of a King Kong movie. So yeah, and of course more human characters. Yeah, let's go. We gotta love human characters. They're always the best part of these fucking movies. Godzilla Kong the New Empire, or Godzilla X Kong, but Godzilla Kong. To be honest, I was never really sure if we'd ever get a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, but here we are. We have been blessed with Godzilla Kong the New Empire, which is now a team-up movie with Godzilla and King Kong. They're coming together, fighting a new villain, and yeah, there's a bunch of human characters and all that shit, and it's just another Monsterverse movie. And yeah, that's just kind of how it looked, judging from the trailers. Like, there was a bunch of really awesome monster action with Godzilla and Kong, and then there was just a really lame human characters that I just couldn't give two shits about. And I was like, oh, it just looks like it's gonna be another really mid Monsterverse movie, and yeah. What did I think of Godzilla Kong the New Empire? Well, that's pretty much what it is. Some really fun monster action with Godzilla and Kong and maybe some other characters that I had a tons of fun with and I enjoyed myself. And then there's also the human characters that I couldn't give two shits about and I was fucking bored with and I just really hated. And yeah, it really brought the movie down for me. But before I get into some of my issues with this movie, let's get into some of the positives. One thing that the Monsterverse is always really good at is having really amazing CGI and special effects, and this movie is no different. It looks amazing. All of the action scenes, including King Kong or Godzilla or other characters, it always looks so damn good in these movies. There's always going to be those little bits where it looks a little off, or it doesn't look real, it just something looks off about it, but this movie, most of the time, is really good and looks fucking amazing. And yeah, I can say 90% of the time the CGI looked amazing in this movie, and it was honestly a huge relief because nowadays CGI fucking looks like this and looks really weird and goofy and just really fucking bad nowadays. And it's just every time we get one of these movies, it's always just a huge relief, and it always looks so damn good in the Monsterverse. The CGI on the monsters, Godzilla, Kong, always looks so damn good, and it's just a big relief. I just have to say that. When it comes to the characters, or even just, I guess, the monsters, Kong in this movie was once again a lot of fun. They do some really fun stuff with him. It's kind of hard to say without getting into spoilers. Of course, he does, meet a baby Kong. I kind of forgot his name. But their little interactions without dialogue was interesting, and it was fun to watch. Kong was very likable, and he was, of course, the main, basically the star of this movie, just like in Godzilla vs. Kong, which was a bit of an issue because I am more of a Godzilla guy, but overall I still liked Kong and I enjoyed him, and I did, fear for him whenever he came across, Scar King or any of the other villains. I did fear for him a little bit, and I rooted for him, and Kong was great. I really liked him. Speaking of Godzilla, what did I think of Godzilla? Well, yeah, as a guy who's more of a Godzilla person and, enjoys watching Godzilla more, it did kind of break my heart seeing him, be sidelined once again. But I'll talk about that a little later. When it comes to what he was doing throughout the whole movie, he was, of course, fun. You can never make Godzilla boring. He was fun as always. He did some pretty cool stuff. As you know in the trailer, he does, become, charged up and gets more powerful and becomes pink and stuff, and that was all fun. It was cool. It was nothing really too different. He just becomes a lot more powerful, and he runs now and all that stuff. It's kind of weird, but enjoyable, and I of course enjoyed Godzilla once again. He was fun for, you know, the few scenes that he was in. He was fun. This movie is also really fucking stupid at times, which isn't too surprising because this is directed by Adam Wingard, who directed the last movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, and he included some really random weird moments in that movie as well. Like, for an example, he would at times do some really up close shots of monsters just randomly smiling or having a good chuckle, like Godzilla while fighting Kong in Hong Kong. He would randomly start laughing like a fucking menace. Or even Mechagodzilla while destroying the city of Hong Kong, he would just have a randomly start chuckling. It would be like a really weird up close shot of him laughing, and really silly moments like that was included in Godzilla vs. Kong. There's more of that in this movie as well, but it's even more wackier with, you know, when it comes to the monsters and the humans. But when it comes to the monsters and them, you know, being treated in a really odd, weird way, at times it was a bit over the top, and times where it was just a lot of fun. One scene in particular, which I can't really give away, but I'll sort of hint at, is that it's a scene where basically Kong uses baby Kong as a weapon, and it was easily the most funniest scene in the entire movie. It was so great. I loved that. There was like parts like that where I actually I enjoyed the silliness of these movies. I love that. There was times where it was a little too over the top, and times where it wasn't funny at all, particularly with the human side of things. But when they were trying to do some really fun, silly things with the monsters, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. So don't go into this movie expecting another Godzilla -1 or anything. Like, I hate that people are comparing this movie to -1. That movie won fucking a bunch of Oscars, and this movie is not an Oscar-worthy, movie at all. So you can't compare this movie to -1. It's not another -1. So, yeah, this movie is very dumb, and at times it was a little too dumb, and times where I was having a good time. And that's basically all my positives with this movie. Some really fun, dumb kaiju fights that was, really fucking exciting. The special effects, CGI, all was basically flawless. The music was decent, you know, hearing Kong and Godzilla's theme play out here and there was fun. Now it's time to get into the bad things. The fucking human characters, holy shit! Why are they always so damn boring in these movies? Like, fucking hell. It makes this movie... I can't even rewatch this movie again knowing I'll have to get through all of the human stuff all over again. I don't think I can do it. The human stuff, all the human characters, how they're treated in this movie was so lame. There are characters from the last movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, that, you know, come back and return in this movie, like Rebecca Hall's character, whatever her name was. Yeah, she wasn't bad. She was just boring and kind of lame, and I don't know, she kind of just explained everything, and I really couldn't give two shits about her. The deaf girl from the last movie came back, who had some really weird bond with Kong. Interesting, but kind of weird. This really weird bond with Kong that continues on with this movie, and you know, Kong kind of learns a language in this movie, which is, you know, was a really exciting moment in the last movie, and they do carry that on. They just don't really do much with it. I think he only really uses the language in one scene, and that's really it. So Brian Tyree Henry's character, the podcast dude who was with Millie Bobby Brown's character from the last movie, comes back, and yeah, he was basically treated like a MCU throwaway character, just filming everything, cracking a bunch of jokes, being scared by everything, and being all nervous, and that's all that he was. Yeah, he was just flat out just useless. But a new character that's introduced, played by Dan Stevens, I'm pretty sure, a brand new character, wasn't useless. He, you know, cracked a lot of jokes as well, and, you know, some of them were kind of funny, and sometimes they weren't, and, you know, there was that, and he wasn't useless. He actually did stuff in this movie. He actually was kind of helped out Kong with giving him his, you know, Transformer looking gauntlet near the end of the movie. So not the funniest character, but he wasn't useless. He actually did help, you know, Kong throughout a lot of the movie. So he was all right. He was decent. But yeah, all the human characters in this movie, I just couldn't give two shits about. And the things that they do with the humans, it just gets so boring and so weird. They try to do some really weird things with the human characters. I'm not even gonna get into it because of spoilers, but they get weird, and I was like, I don't care. I don't know if I'm meant to be taking this shit seriously or if it's meant to be silly. I don't know what I'm watching, this is so fucking shit. Unfortunately, another really big issue with this movie was the big bad of this movie, Scar King, the main villain of this movie. Yeah, he was kind of disappointing. There was maybe like one or two scenes that stood out where he, you know, kind of made fun of Kong in a weird way, and did something really evil for no reason at all. He just did it for fun. There was that. Those were probably the most memorable scenes with Scar King. But overall, he was just a disappointing villain. He showed up in the movie really late as well, which was kind of odd. I was like, why? What's taking Scar King so long? Why? Where is he? And then when he finally shows up, it's like, okay, here we go. And then as the movie carries on, he's not a great villain. And how he's treated throughout the whole final battle was nothing more than embarrassing. Yeah, it was pretty rough. It's kind of sad looking back at last year when they released like the teaser or announcement of this movie, and they teased Scar King as this big bad threat for Godzilla and Kong, and yeah, the way his conclusion in this movie was nothing more than embarrassing. It was pretty bad. Something that I mentioned before was the usage of Godzilla in this movie. He was once again sidelined, which really disappointed me because I'm more of a Godzilla person, and I'm sorry. Kong is really cool, but I prefer Godzilla, and he was once again sidelined just like in the last movie, Godzilla vs. Kong. And I was like, come on, man, use Godzilla more. It just felt like he was just forced into this movie just so the movie could earn more money because it's another Godzilla Kong crossover movie, so that means it's gonna easily make way more money. So yeah, it just feels like Godzilla was forced into this movie. He didn't really need to be here. It was more of a Kong story. He's just there once again, and that really disappointed me. So if Adam Wingard ends up making another movie, I hope he does more of Godzilla because he's sidelined. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Godzilla x Kong is another mostly fun MonsterVerse movie with some really fun kaiju fights, some really dumb fun moments with Godzilla and Kong, amazing CGI. It's just the human characters that really ruined this movie for me. The usage of Godzilla was a bit disappointing. Scar King was a pretty lame villain, and a bit of issues with this movie, some overly stupid moments, but overall, like I said, a mostly fun MonsterVerse movie that I'd say is worth seeing on the big screen just for the big, crazy kaiju fights. Despite everything, do I still recommend you go see Godzilla Kong the New Empire? Yes, just don't go into it expecting another -1. If you're expecting another -1 with a bunch of monsters and interesting human characters, fuck no, just skip this movie completely. But if you're expecting another really fun, movie in the MonsterVerse, then go check it out. You'll have fun. Alrighty guys, this is going to be the end of my review of Godzilla Kong the New Empire. Hope you enjoyed. Please let me know down below what you thought of the movie and if you liked it or not. And yeah, I think this might be the end of the MonsterVerse. I haven't heard of any upcoming movies coming out after this, so I think this actually might be it. Well, I guess we'll do it again. Rest in peace to the MonsterVerse. Fucking hell! Okay, no way, I was fucking wrong again. Was I wrong again? Is there another movie coming out? Okay, I am so fucking sorry. Oh,